Maddsters, welcome back. So I'm pretty excited about this video because on my Instagram recently I just did a Q&A and asked you guys, like what kind of your big questions were about Michigan. You guys sent in some really great stuff and I feel like this video will be like pretty good. But also my dorm video is really good, so go watch that one too. Okay, well first off, like normally I'd wear something Michigan, but Taylor Swift just re-released Love Story, which is seriously my favorite song ever in the whole entire world. But I don't have a Love Story shirt and I'm like really sad about it because I really want to buy it, but then I tell my brother and then he's like, no, you don't need it. Like, stop spending all your money because I spend so much money. So I just have my Reputation shirt, which is like fine, but like if anyone wants to buy me a Love Story shirt, like please, I would love that. Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, these are going to be like kind of interesting questions actually because I really like the ones that I got. So the first question is, what is it like being a minority on campus? So I feel like I probably talked about this at some point, but really like it was a big culture shock for me because I grew up, like my hometown is super white and like I was literally the only Asian. Or there are like two other ones, I don't even know. I was used to that, like I was used to just being surrounded by white people all the time. And then I come to Michigan and there's like not so many Asians, but way more than where I came from. So I don't know the exact numbers, but I'll put in like a picture here. I think it's like 60 to 65% are whites, so it's majority whites. And then 15 to 20-ish% is Asian. It wasn't really a big factor for me to come to Michigan. To be honest, I really thought it would be like high school, so it was really weird to like come here and see like, oh my gosh, I'm no longer like the Asian kid in the class because there's a bunch of Asian kids here. So yeah, it's been very different, but there's not really that much of like a stigma or like, personally, I have not experienced anything racist against me, which I'm very thankful for. I feel like most people here are very inclusive, very tolerant. Michigan does have a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Are really pushing that. Yeah, I feel like as a minority on campus, I haven't really felt like, discriminated against, oppressed by any of my peers or my teachers or anyone. I cannot speak for everyone else, but from my personal experience, it's been fine. It's actually been nice, I guess. Well, it's just been different to like be surrounded by more Asian people than I normally would be, but it's still cool. But yeah, so I would not necessarily say that it's hard being a minority on campus because there are so many, 60% white, 40% non-white. So if that kind of gives you guys a better idea, personally, I don't think it's really like impacted that much of my experience here. And another thing, there are a ton of campus groups and clubs. There's like the Vietnamese club, the Chinese club, like there's the Asian businesswoman, like Korean club, and then there's multicultural Greek life. So there's like an Asian sorority, an Asian fraternity, a black sorority, black fraternity. So there's a lot of other organizations that are very inclusive, and so like you can find people in your circle, I guess. Okay, but yeah, that was like a really good question. I feel like people don't really ask that often, but personally, I haven't been affected. I'm not sure about anyone else, but my experience has been very okay and fine. Okay, next up is Michigan more collaborative or competitive? Michigan is like a really prestigious school, I guess, and people think it's, super hard. People are really mean to each other. And personally, I'm in LSA, so I cannot speak on behalf of other schools, but I feel like it's been very collaborative. Like everyone's just kind of chilling and just, going through it together. I don't know if you guys have watched my previous videos, but I did Calc 1 here so hard. And we were like in this group together we had team homework every weekend. So we had a group and those people like I'm still friends with because we were all just, working together and like doing really badly, and it was really rough and working on the homework together all the time. So I feel like it is very, very collaborative, at least in the classes I've taken. It's hard to make friends in lectures, so as a freshman, I highly recommend doing one of the freshman seminars because you get a smaller class, and so then you can talk to people. It's literally impossible to make friends over Zoom, okay? So like it's not gonna happen. I'm in like kind of smaller classes. I haven't made any friends, but it's okay. But yes, I would say overall it is extremely collaborative, at least in LSA. You can usually, everyone's just kind of going through it together. No one ever talks about like, oh, what'd you get on the test? Or like, what's your GPA? Like, I literally don't know anyone's GPA. Like in high school, people were crazy about it and people were crazy about like tests and stuff and just asking what I got. And it's nice that I don't have to deal with that anymore. And if you don't want to say like how you did, you just don't have to. People are very relaxed and they don't really care about others' grades as much as, you do in high school. Okay, kind of going off of academics, people think that because Michigan is such a large university, it's really hard to talk to your professors. I'm going to say no, like it's not that big of a deal. So basically how college classes work, you have, I don't know, twice a week for an hour and a half, you sit in there and you have your lecture, which are literally so long. Like I just sit in there, I fall asleep like most of the time. I just can't stay awake, but I work on it. So you sit there and like you take your notes during the 2 days. And then on a third day, you have a 1 hour like discussion where it's with graduate students and they like go over material or sometimes bring in new material. I don't really like discussion, but it's fine. So yeah, so that's how it works. Everyone offers office hours. So it kind of depends on your professor and the class and your GSI. But usually it's like an hour or 2 hours a week that you can just drop in. Right now it's just all on Zoom, but otherwise you like actually walk to their office and just talk to them about whatever if you're struggling or if you just want to talk, I guess. Definitely a good option if you want to meet your professors. Freshman year, I never did it because 1, I was so busy, so I could never go. 2, I didn't really like any of my classes, so I was like, I don't really care about this subject, so I didn't go. Recently, though, I've been going more often because I like my professors and my GSIs, and I am struggling in French, so I need help. But it's definitely, they're very accessible, they're very friendly and nice. So if you're struggling or you really like the topic, or like you want to make friends with them, I don't know, go. To be honest, it is kind of awkward. Like, I don't really know where to start. But it's okay. You should just still go and meet them if you want to. Some of you guys were wondering how much the workload is. So I don't know if you had AP or IB. I don't know what IB is. But for AP classes, I feel like compared to college, the workload is very similar. You basically, like read the book. Actually, I don't even read the book. I probably should, though. Or you can do the lectures. See, the reason why I don't read the book is because the lectures are literally the book. So I'm like, why would I read this book, literally fall asleep on it, and then go to lecture and learn the same thing? So I'm sure it helps, but it's just like, I don't know, kind of a waste of my time. But I'll do it a little bit more. Or actually, no, I start off really great in the beginning of the semester, and then I like never touch it. So I guess you can read the book if you want. But apparently for every credit hour you're in a class for 4 hours a week, you have double that work outside of class. So a 4 credit class, you're in the classroom for 4 hours, means that you have 8 hours of homework outside of it. I feel like that's somewhat true. I feel like it depends on the class, because if it's a big lecture, you might have a couple quizzes here and there. It's basically just 3 big exams that you just study for. Sometimes for your discussion section, you may have little assignments, but nothing too big. It's just kind of a lot of teaching yourself and making sure that you understand what's going on. But I am in an 8 credit French class. Seriously, I've never done this much French homework in my whole entire life. It's so hard. In like 8 credits, that means that I have 16 hours of homework outside of French, and I feel like that's actually legit. I mean, the only homework I have basically is French, and it's ridiculous. So yeah, it really depends on the class. I'm taking another 4 credit class, which is like kind of not too bad. I do think it's doable. I mean, I'm taking 19 credits right now, which is more. Your cap is at 18. I'm taking 19. And then you also have to like pay more for the extra credit. I don't know. It's annoying. They just like want your money. Because of that, you just really have to learn how to budget your time. And so I'm taking 19 credits. I'm doing a lot of stuff outside of school and I'm doing fine. So it's really about being able to budget your time and, kind of stay organized with what you're doing. Every person is different, so I can't be like, oh, this workload is super hard or super easy, because personally I've been able to manage it fine because I'm used to like running on a tight schedule, I guess. I think it's doable in general. You just gotta like work through it. I don't know. Okay, also kind of going with academics, but not really, more of admissions. People have asked how to write a letter of continued interest. So for those of you who were deferred like myself, basically, I'm trying to remember what I wrote. I think if you have any like other scholarships or awards that happened from when you submitted your application to the time that you got deferred. So I think I had like one little award. I don't even know what it was for, but I wrote about that. If you have visited campus, you can talk about, oh, I visited Michigan, I really love this part, and like I still want to go here. You know, you just gotta like hype yourself up, be like, hey, I still really want to go here. Do they actually read these letters? I have no idea. Do they actually impact you? I don't know. If I didn't write a letter of continued interest, would I be here? I don't know. But I do think that they can help. I will drop a link in the description below because I'm not in admissions. I don't really know, how they figure that out. Overall, for the letter of continued interest, I don't think it'll hurt. Just make sure that you have something good that you can add to it. Don't just write about everything on your resume or your application. Like, add something. If you've done something, like, say that you did it. Or talk about how you've, powered through COVID. Talk about, everything you've overcome. If your first semester, senior year was like kind of difficult, like kind of talk about that possibly. I'm not really sure your situation, but just make sure you're adding positive things to your resume. Okay, now more into housing. So you guys, go watch my dorm video. Seriously, like such a good video, okay? Some people were asking more about the housing process. If they pay their down payment early, will they get preferred housing? If they submit things early, will they get preferred housing? Like, how can I get preferred housing, basically? And the answer is you can't, okay? Michigan just has terrible housing. It's 100% a lottery. I think I submitted my housing down payment. I don't know. So I got deferred. So I submitted after the people who submitted, like, when they got in. So I was probably, like, in the middle-ish. And then you just submit it. You fill out your little, like, survey, which I don't think really means anything unless you're a girl and want to live in an all-girls dorm. And then you just wait. And then I didn't even find out where I was living or who my roommate was until the beginning of August, like literally 2 or 3 weeks before I moved in. And then other people were finding out like mid-June. So how they do it is just really kind of random. No, nothing that you do will help you get into a specific dorm unless you apply to a theme or a learning community. I just made a video about that. Go check that out. Those I think are really helpful, probably very hard to get into, so good luck getting in. But yeah, that's probably like the only way that you can guarantee yourself living in a specific dorm is by getting into one of those communities. And then for roommates, oh my goodness, you guys. So I hate how people hate on going in blind. I know so many people who went in as a blind roommate and are literally still friends with them, live with them for multiple years after. As you guys know, my roommate Kavya and I are still friends and we're living together next year. So yeah, so if you don't want to go in blind and you're like one of those people who hates on people who go in blind, like I don't know why you guys are doing that. Just like, it's so much easier because after you get in, you'll probably join the Michigan Facebook page. And it's literally awful because all the people say on there are the same thing. Like, at least all the girls, it's like, hi, my name's Maddsters. I'm from a suburb of Chicago. I'm like kind of interested in pre-med, but also kind of undeclared. I really love watching Netflix and I really love listening to music. Down for a night in, but I also love to like have a night out too. Every single girl on there is gonna say that. Like, you guys who are on the Facebook page, like, that's just what everyone says. Because like, what else are you supposed to say? So then you can, if you think you like someone, you can like DM them or message them on Facebook. It's just like kind of weird. I feel like that's just so superficial, and you obviously are not going to actually know the person until you actually live with them. So I know people who met on Facebook and literally could not stand each other by the end of the semester, okay? And then also I do know people who met on Facebook who are still friends. So it kind of goes both ways, but I feel like going through Facebook just adds another level of expectations. It's like, okay, I met this person on Facebook, I chose them, so they must be a really great roommate, which isn't always the case. So that's why I feel like going in blind is truly the best way to do it. Of course, like, not everyone had such a great relationship as I do with my freshman year roommate. Some people literally just like lived in the same room together and weren't really friends. Some people were not friends at all and you just like kind of deal with it. But I know a lot of people who went in blind. I know a handful of people who met through Facebook, but going in blind isn't as bad as it seems. And going through Facebook also isn't like terrible. I just like don't like it. But if you guys want to do it, it's fine too. Yeah, it's kind of up to you. Either way, it's a risk, but yeah. And then also, if you are going to Michigan with a friend who, like one of your close friends from high school, you could room with them too, just because you know them. If they're like your best friends, I know a pair of best friends who, they live together. Okay, also another question I got was how to find jobs on campus. I would say it's very, very easy to find a job on campus. Dining always needs help. I think there's some kind of tutoring thing that you can do probably after your first 2 semesters. The cafes on campus, when they're open, tons of students work there. Rec sports, where I work, at the gyms. And then also there's so many local restaurants around Ann Arbor, always hiring, everywhere. You just go walk down somewhere, it's like we're hiring. So it's not really too difficult to find a job. It's hard to find a job that you like and that pays well and has good hours, but that's just hard for life. It may be overwhelming if you have to work and do school, so just be cautious for that and try to find a job that's flexible, I would say. So a lot of jobs through the university are much more flexible than a job at a local restaurant. You know what I mean? Because it's this is an actual business for people who actually work, and then this is a job for students. So there is a difference there, but overall it's not really hard. They usually hire at the beginning of each semester, so fall and winter semesters are pretty good. Also for the summer too, if you want to stay over the summer and work. I mean, I have a job, very low key. You can definitely work and be a student. Having more an actual part-time job, 20 hours, that's tough. But anything less, 10 hours a week isn't too bad. Okay, another common question is, what are some fun things to do on campus outside of school? So right now it's pretty hard just because of COVID and everything is closed and you literally can't do anything most of the time. But what I'd like to do is walk around. So as you guys know, I love State Street and Main Street, which is the downtown Ann Arbor area. I just love to walk. I don't know. I used to hate walking, especially in the cold. It's literally, 10, 20 degrees out, and I just go on a walk. So that's been really nice. I don't even know where I walk. I just go around, So you can definitely do that. And then during non-pandemic times, I don't even know. People are usually just so busy during the school year that there's no time for, fun things. You just, study all day, all the time, which is sad. You can go out to the restaurants, which I really like to do. As you guys know, go follow my food Instagram at hungrymaddykim. The issue with that is the food here is super expensive. So if you want a pretty decent meal at a, pretty middle upper tier restaurant, it's at least $20. Pretty much, unless you just get a salad and then it's $10. So you can definitely do that. There's tons of options there. Briarwood Mall is a mall, probably about 10 minutes away. If you have a car, you can take the bus up there. I did that one time, but that's also an option. There's also a bunch of local shops on State Street that you can go to. During the school year, it's really, really tough to do something fun, to be honest, because you just sit and grind out your homework for the rest of time. Yes, and then my favorite place on campus is 100% West Quad. Seriously, if I could live there again, I 100% would. I considered being an RA, but you're not guaranteed a certain dorm, so I don't really want to take my chances with that one, you know what I mean? Sad, though, that I may never get to go back there, but it's fine. Okay, and finally, do you love Michigan? Okay, you guys might be mad, but no, I don't love Michigan. And before you're like, oh my god, Maddie, you've been lying to us this whole time, I've never said that I loved Michigan. I am very thankful to be here. I know I am, more fortunate to be able to go here. I'm very blessed that, I can go here. But I don't love it here. I love West Quad, I love the squirrels, and I love State Streets. But do I love Michigan as a whole? No. I think, they're like, oh, we're the best university in the world, which is good. If we're a great university, but are we the best in the world? No, I don't think so. They have a lot of issues with handling COVID. They got a lot of issues with, we had our GSIs go on strike, so that was not good. I don't know what the regions are, but apparently Ron Weiser, he's I don't know what's wrong with him, but people don't like him. So I feel like Michigan just has a lot of other issues. I feel like it's a great place to be. And I'm not saying that I hate my life here, but the weather kind of is bad. I wish I would have gone to UT Austin. I think the one with the Longhorns. you know, the one with the Longhorns, you know, like orange and white place in Texas, because one, it's warm, and two, Matthew McConaughey is a professor there, and like if he was my professor, I would die. Like, oh my gosh, he's literally like all my favorite rom-coms, he's in it. So yeah, like would I wanted Matthew McConaughey to be my professor? Yeah, that'd be awesome. Would I wanted to go somewhere warmer than Michigan? Yeah, that'd be great too. But I do think it's a great place to be, definitely like helps set you up. It's very difficult though to find your place just because it's so big. So definitely, especially now during COVID, like they try to do Zoom things, but like it doesn't work over Zoom. You know, you just can't, I mean, even through videos, like I can talk to you through this, but obviously you're just watching and you're not talking back to me. And it's like, you guys know, through Zoom, it's like you can't really make a connection that way. So the pandemic has really hindered people's, you know, social lives and everything. So that's been tough, but I mean, Michigan can't do anything about that. I'm grateful that I'm here, but I don't necessarily love the school. I feel like I just don't really have much school spirit in general. Like people say, like I say go blue because everyone else says go blue, you know, like I don't like sports, so I don't buy into the Michigan sports stuff. Like I'll still go because everyone goes, but I'm not like diehard Michigan sport fan. I don't like sporting events. I think it is very competitive to get into certain clubs here, which is very unfortunate because it's like, I want to be part of your club, I want to be your friend, but like, I don't know, all these people are so high achieving that you can't. So that can be frustrating too. But yeah, overall, I think it's a good experience, definitely, before you go to a big school. I mean, it's hard to know if you want to go to a big school, but like consider that more. When I was in high school, I was like, oh yeah, like big school, small school, I don't care. Now looking back, I think I should have put more thought into it. It might have been like, oh, is a smaller school a better fit for me? But it's really hard to know when you're in high school. So overall, Michigan does have its pros and cons. Definitely, I think it is good to be here, but also has a lot of issues too. Like every other place in the world though, so I don't know. But yeah. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. Please DM me if you have any other questions. I'll probably do another Q&A at some point, or you can just DM me, you know, your individual questions. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye, Maddsters!